So if the 2017 register was never acted upon, many Kenyans, I myself am asking myself a question, did we then go to the 2022 elections with the anomalies that were raised in the 2017 register that were never addressed? Because here we then find ourselves with a lot that has been done, like you are an independent body, you are not IEBC.
Yes,
you did the audit and you found anomalies, right?
Yes.
And with these anomalies, then if they were forwarded to IEBC, it is expected, not even hoped, it is expected that they pick that up, they look at the anomalies, they fix it, and assure Kenyans that as we go to the elections, each and every single anomaly that existed has been corrected. We have further gone as IEBC to do our own audit. We found these extra anomalies, addressed them, and we assure you that you're going to election with a register that is free of any anomaly.
Fairly clean.
But here we are saying if the 2017 was never addressed, we are going to 2027 and we are looking at an IEBC whose resources have been diminishing. We're looking at an IEBC that has a lot in terms of, it is a new commission, right? It has a lot on its plate, right? But these don't seem, I don't know if that's the right thing to say, but these don't seem to be the priority in terms of, first of all, Mule brought his issue, was never addressed. Perhaps we need to address that first to ensure that where Mule sits is comfortable. We need to look at what happened in 2022 as well as deal with all those problems so that as we head to 2027, everything has been sorted. For me, these are the current commission does not only have to deal with what we are seeing right now, but it has to go back to history to avoid a repeat of the same mistakes. Would you reckon?
Yeah, you know, one of the things, and I'll put that what I've just said in context. Two things happened last week around the voter register. One was a misrepresentation of what the chair said about fresh registration.
Yes.
He gave an update and just on the enhanced voter registration, and he said, well, for those old voters pre-2012 who are not in the biometric register, they need to use this opportunity to do this.
To do the same, yeah.
That was a simple message, or should have been a simple message.
Yes.
But remember, you have seen how it has been misconstrued by all and sundry out there to
Maybe
mean,
is it how
what are
it
they
was
saying?
put out? Is it how it was put out?
Exactly. So I'm just alluding to something.
Yeah.
I'm coming to that issue. Then secondly, remember these Gen Zs when they started going to checking their details on the voter register, and then I think even one of the key actors in the Nico Kadi campaign says, I think there's some problem with IBC and the portal. All my details are not there. I have my name, but I don't have the polling station number. Another simple case of how communication and education can be done, because we know now that we don't need to have any polling stations right now. You don't need to know the name of your polling station or the number now because the register is not complete.
Yes.
But what is the gap there? Communication, information.
Yes.
Clear communication. So even on the first instance, it was still a question of communication and information. Although I will still go on to add that there was a misrepresentation by the media, in my view. I think when I read the statement myself, I did not get the indication, insinuation that there was supposed to be a fresh voter registration. I think the media also have a responsibility to confirm and clarify information. I don't think in that particular case the help matters. But it's still the question, when I come back to the question, that the issue that you're talking about, there's been an issue of very lack of clear communication, lack of transparency on these processes, which would do a lot of its own groundwork without the commission even doing anything. If you have opened processes up, those voter audits, we've conducted 2 voter audits on the IBC register in 2012 and in 2017. And the 2017, of course, like I said, just like you put it, we are clear from an ELOG point of view that we went into the 2017 elections with a voters' roll which had the same problems. We are very clear because we did an audit after the event.
Yes.
We requested...
because you did it 2012 and 2017.
Yes. No, even the 2017 one we did after the election.
The election, yes.
So that would mean when we see similar issues, whether it's duplicate records, whether it was some errors, we saw them after the elections had been done, which would mean that we went into 2017 elections with a faulty register. It had not been cleaned because where we saw, for instance, where KPMG saw about 200,000 records which had problems, we saw something like 160,000. So the cleanup was like about 40,000 records or such. So that still is a heavily fraudulent record. So if we did that and saw that, and in 2022 we requested for the register, we never got it. And in fact, we went on to say the reason why we request for the register to audit again is because we saw some issues in 2017. And since we have not gotten any feedback since 2017, what you're saying that could we still be having the same records which have been updated further with new voters, but with still the same problems? And now that even in 2022, there was no transparency about the findings of what we were given, what was the commission said, this is what we were told. The report was not made very public about the audit of KPMG. And that was a concern for us because we wanted to see what were the issues. And then afterwards, a report showing what has been done.
Addressed.
Did we go to the elections with a completely error-free role? Or we still have some issues. So because all these things were being done very close to the elections, it was not very possible for us, for people, in fact, you were running over something else. You were running over registration of candidates, you were running over litigation issues, you're chasing logistical preparations. So people never had enough time to be able to interrogate that particular report by KPMG. So in sum, there is a serious need to be able to make an assessment of that register, in my view.
Musau,
before 2027.
IBC suffers a trust deficit for a long time. I think we've said every election that has been done post new constitution has been subject to litigation in the Supreme Court. And as you say, communication is very key in terms of carrying the populace to understand what's going on.
Yes.
IBC has failed to do that because they don't have the capacity or they don't have budget. Secondly, how then do we say, how do we carry the people, especially coming to